All right, folks, what we're doing here today is we are going to change a alternator on this GTI. All right, GTI alternator is found right over here. What I did was I unplugged this piece here, this connector, since it's in the way and I really don't want to break this wire. So just squeeze a little tab in the back here, right here, and unplug it, tuck it out of the way. All right, there's 4 13mm bolts, 2 on top, 2 on the bottom. Then you got your little bolt and a plug in the back, and then you have to remove the belt. So the first thing we're going to do here, besides doing that, is you disconnect the negative battery cable. All right, disconnected it. I tucked it up out of the way so you don't get any, you don't want to get zapped. All right, so now what we're going to do here, we are going to disconnect the belt. All right, that's a 16mm bolt there. I have a belt, serpentine belt tool here. Hook it up right in there, like that, 16mm. You could use a wrench if you want in there. You could use a little ratchet with a socket. And you're going to do is you're going to pull it towards the front of the car, okay? When you pull it to the front of the car, you're going to notice that the belt is going to loosen up. All right, so I'm going to do it. Use my other hand here. I'm going to hold it down like this. Take the belt and just tuck it out of the way. All right, so I want to pause you here for a second while I do that. Just want to show you as I'm going. All right, I tucked it over here, and the belt is on its way out. I'll put you on a little bit of a tilt here to see what we can do here. Okay, so basically I'm just going to tilt this down, pull this belt out of the way, okay, away from the alternator. Going to let it drop a little bit, then the spring tension is going to bring this tensioner back. Matter of fact, you know what, I'm going to leave it tensioned right there like that, so I don't have to take it all the way out. All right, so now I know that these hoses here are in the way. This is a coolant hose because it goes to the reservoir over here. Okay, a little reservoir over here that it goes to. So I see there's a little torque screw here, maybe a torque screw here. Okay, over here and over here. I should be able to move this up and out of the way a little bit without breaking anything, just to move it away, give me a little bit more clearance over here in this area. All right, yeah, so I'm going to take these Torx head screws here, that one off over there, and see if I can just pull this whole assembly up and out of the way a little bit. So let's do that. All right, 27 Torx is what takes this screw out of here. This one here, it's a little bit of a bad angle because of this shroud, and the tool that I got, usually it's only about this size, but the length is no good. So I had another set that was smaller, but that didn't work either because there was no clearance. You actually hit this piece here. So what I did was I just used the tip itself, and I used a little what we called ignition wrenches back then. This is a 1/4 inch Craftsman tool. I put it right in there, and that gave me the length to get in that spot, and I spun it all the way out, and we are good. All right, I'll put that away. All right, so after that, we are here to the 13mm bolts. There's 4 of them, 2 on top, 2 on the bottom. I used a deep socket, gave me just enough length in there that you can remove it right in between in this little gap here. You could use the same deep socket over here. Otherwise, I used a shorty up here originally. All right, so got this one loose. They're pretty long bolts. See, they actually almost hit the piece over there. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. These are ones in the back. I'm gonna get this one here off. The weight of the alternator is right there on it right now, so I'm gonna use my other hand to lift it, and we're gonna have to spin that off. Let's see if I can do it this way for you folks. without the foam falling. Let's try it. How's that? A little fugazi over here. All right, let's spin this little sucker off here. Doesn't really come off that easy, people. Sometimes you need a little socket for a little bit more strength. So lift this alternator up a little bit, take the weight off the bolt. Gotta wiggle it as it goes because it's not coming out that easy. Come on, people. Get in there. There it is. Alright, so take this bolt off here. Put everything away here. Now I'm going to try to finagle it. Because remember, you got the little electrical wire back there that we have to disconnect, and we have a plug. All right, so I'm going to check to see how much length I have for the plug. Otherwise, it might have to be disconnected right there somehow. Not much wire in there, people. All right, so from what I can see here, sneak it in there. Not much wire there for you to pull it out much. So let's try to get this plug out first. Okay, let me get this plug out first. Push the tab in there. Disconnect the plug first. So let me use my other hand and try to get in there for you folks. That was a tough little tab there. All right, so technically that tab, I took a little screwdriver here and I kind of like pushed down on it this way. Not really pushing it, I guess I kind of like rocked it and kind of lifted a little bit, and then it moved out. Otherwise, you know, as you can see the little notch there. I tried pushing it in with my fingers, that didn't work. I tried pushing it in with a little screwdriver. You can see the little marks over there. It wasn't going down, it wasn't moving, but I did this, okay, and I kind of like just pushed down on it that way. I kind of like rocked it, and then it finally came off. Okay, once that came off, look, I get more room to flip it around to get to the 10mm, which is sitting back here. All right, so I'm going to rearrange it because it's hitting the tensioner right now. I'm going to rearrange it so it looks like it's facing up towards me. All right, so flipped it up and over so I can see it right here. You can get in here with your 13mm. That's the size of this nut. Either with a ratchet, with a short socket, or you can go with a wrench. A ratcheting wrench if you want. All right. It is a snug fit, I tell you. Because the wire's pulling on it too. Okay, but we'll spin that off and we're going to transfer it over to the new alternator, which I bought from AutoZone, the Duralast brand, 10272. That's the alternator. These are the 4 bolts that we're talking about, right? On top and on bottom. That's the battery cable. And that's the plug over there. All right, so let's do it. Let's take this little sucker off here. Just remember the orientation of the cable that comes in through this way, because that's the way it's going to have to sit back. And of course, this nut, not spinning off by hand too easy. It's loose, but you ever get one of those nuts where they're loose, but they're still not fully be able to turn by hand. Okay, and there's also a little rubber cover cap that sits right over it. You can just pop that out with a little small screwdriver and you are good to go. All right, so we're going to try to wiggle this thing out. We'll find a way to wiggle it out through somewhere in here. All right, once I figure it out, I'll show you how I did that. All right, so I undid this clip over here for this bracket so I can move this whole AC line a little bit. So it's gonna have to come through this way, just the way you see it. I just have this little bit of the body to get out. All right, don't want to ruin any of the connections over here, so you got to be very, very careful there. All right, so I want to continue. Be careful of that switch over there. Might have to just pull this out with another piece of maybe a little bar over here, just to bend it just a little bit, just to tweak it, just so it can come out. Because then you got the hose over here. I pulled that up a little higher. And all right, let's continue. All right, so yeah, tried to do it without taking that oil pressure switch, but it has to come out. All right, 13/16 I think is the size. All right, that has to come out. And you do a little wiggling and finagling, and that's the direction that's gonna have to come out. You have no choice. All right, so you want it out, this is the way it's gonna have to come out. All right, pull out with one hand. That's it. Very tight space. It is out. Now to go compare it to the replacement one. The doggy sees somebody. Sees the next door neighbor. Alrighty. Flip it around. Exact orientation, the plugs, the wire. All right, so this is going to go back in. All right, I'm going to go wiggle it back in, and we'll continue from there. All right, I guess because once I bent everything out of the way, going back in, it technically just fell right in. I mean, it should be the same size. I don't think they made it any smaller, but yeah, no, just fell right in. So that's why I am now. I'm going to hook up the wire connector now. All right, I used back the original nut, not the replacement one. I like to try to keep it as original as possible. All right, so that's a 13 millimeter. Put the little replacement cap on there. Not replacement cap, but the little cover cap. Goes over this nut. I'm gonna snap it in there. There you go. Now I'm gonna arrange it so I can plug in the plug, put the 4 bolts on, and I can probably just put the switch in afterwards. But let's do the plug first, okay? Let's see if we can flip it up and over. Nah, I can't do it with one hand. All right, I'm gonna flip it up and over. All right, tilted it over. There is the plug. It's gonna push it in. You should hear it snap. Okay, I heard it snap. I don't know if you guys heard it on there, but okay, that's it. That's in there. Now I'm gonna flip it over a little bit more, and now goes with the four bolts that are gonna hold it on. All right, let's do that. All right, alternator is in. 4 bolts are on. All right, I got them nice and tight for now. I'm gonna go do the torque specs. I'll get that and I'll torque it. I put the oil pressure switch back on. If you have liquid Teflon, that's the best thing to use. All right, so now I'm off to put the belt back on. Hopefully the belt pretty much stayed where it was. Okay, I don't think there's too many accessories on here. Hopefully I remember where the belt was. All right, so to put the belt back on, then we'll put this little plug back in for there. Put that back in with the screws, and that should be good. All right, I just want to show you, look at the AC line. See the AC line normally sits over here. It moved over about an inch. All right, so that hard line had to be moved about an inch in order to get the clearance for the alternator to go right through there. All right, and that's probably why when I put it back in, it went in like butter. Went in like butter because the line is already bent. All right. My God, dogs over here, Mr. Waffles and Mr. Peter. Peter Waffles. You're okay, buddy. Thank you. Thanks for watching out for me, guys. Thanks for watching out. Somebody walking, that's why. All right, let's go do that. Time to put the belt on. All right, the belt is on. I'll tell you, thank goodness for these ratcheting tools over here, especially with this one here. because after you get the crank, it hits the hose, then you have to reset this bar. So that's a ratcheting one, and that's what helped me out, because I had to go a little further in order to get that belt. All right, but you gotta definitely make sure the belts are in the grooves. That way, otherwise it feels like the belt is a little short. But yeah, Gear Wrench makes this. This is great. This is a ratcheting piece. So if you need more of a throw, you can stop, reset this piece, and get a better angle, and get that done. Get her done, people. Get her done. All right, now here's the switch. It's oriented differently, see? Because when you take a switch out, it never really goes back the way it usually is from the factory. So make sure you turn it around the right way. We'll line it up, and we'll lock it in place. Oh, hang on, I gotta use my right hand. Yeah, use my right hand better. And it should click in. Perfect. All right, now to put that little screws back in here, let's struggle with that one. The one I told you about, where I had to make that Fugazi setup. Let me see if I can hook this up for you here. See what I did. Of course, the trick is don't drop it. Otherwise, you drop it, you got to go down into the pan. Got a little plastic pan over there. Be a pain in the butt. So what? Yeah. So I did this. Hold it nice and tight. I'm going to turn it in with the open end side of it. As you can see, it's starting to turn in. Is it annoying? Sure. I mean, you could take this panel off if you wanted to. I don't believe in doing extra work, then I have to. This works just fine. Yep, ignition wrenches, they're really, really small. It's a great invention. All right, there it is. 1/4 inch ignition wrench. Now let's get this one here. Which with that one, I can use a regular 1/4 inch drive screw. I misplaced my little ratchet. That's why there's a little delay in the action, people. Alrighty, I'm going to go in here, around this hose, and thread it in a little bit by hand. There you go. Alright, this is all back together. I'm going to snap this thing here back in. Like I said before, you can see the distance that it moved. Okay, set you over here like this. All right, that's the amount of distance I had to move it in order to get that. So just gonna push it back down. This is gonna snap on, which slides on. I forgot what it was. I think it slides on. Hang on, try to get it. It's a toughie because I moved it. I just want to get it to sit back in the way it was. I believe this is a snap-on. Not sure if it's a clip-on or a slide-on. Let me double check before I continue with you guys. So it's a snap-on. I think I was pushing it the wrong way because I'm looking at the little one. The little one has this little lip in the back. But I think this one, the lip is in the front. That's probably what my problem was. All right, yeah, so the lip goes in the front on this one, the lip is in the back on that one. And that's it. All right, this all together. Nothing else is removed. I'm gonna put the battery terminal back on. I like this little cover. More cars should have it. All right, put the battery back on. All right. Sorry, Waffles. Didn't mean to beat the horn, buddy. Oops, you guys fell on me. Did you have a nice fall? All right, let's go. Let's tighten this up. Okay. Covers go on. Keeps the battery warm. I think that's the main idea of it. Not to keep any dust off or anything like that, but basically just to keep it warm. It's a little thin piece of like plastic and felt. All right. Just go double check everything that you removed, that you remember that you removed, and anything that you moved over, anything that you plugged and unplugged. All right. Always double check your work. Make sure you're good. Clean up all your tools. Get everything off the car itself. No hitting screws anywhere. You didn't leave any spare parts. That's a good thing. All right. Oh, you know what? We got to check the charging after we start it. So let's just leave this open. All right. And we're going to go start it and check the charging system. All right. We're going to go start it up now. See if it's charging. It should fall in the green. All right. It's between 14 and 15. All right. There you go. All is good. Go check. I mean, if the belt was bad, or if it was going to fall off, it would have fell off on the first crank. That's good. There is no oil pressure light on the dash. Charging is good. It's got a tire pressure light. Let's go take a look at that. Other than that, the battery dying and the alternator going bad, that's all done. All right, on for the next part that this VW needs. Alrighty, thanks for watching, people. GTI out. Thanks for watching. Ciao. All right, PS, just a quick little ride, half a block, and all the lights went out. All right, maybe because the battery is disconnected. TPS-M light was on, and traction control and all that other stuff. But yeah, quick ride, half a block away, everything turned off. Everything's good. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching.